Today we're going to be talking about the layers of communication, right? Because when we see communication, you can see some great speakers out in the world, right? You can see someone in your life, in your own life, they're just great at communicating with like different people or even with you, right? But to us, it feels quite unnatural to be that good at communication. So I'm just going to make this quick video for you to kind of digest the layers that communication has, right? And without further ado, there's really one thing which you need to know about communication as a whole, and which is not talked about a lot. Because have you been in this scenario where you're out in public and you don't know whether you should put your hands in your pocket or whether you should just hold them like that, and you're all like confused, you're all in your head. Instead of actually being out there, you feel like there's a need to hide yourself. You just put your hood on, or you just put on your music, and all of a sudden there's this sort of disunity with the reality that you're living with, right? And when this happens, you need to know that your mind has been hijacked by your thoughts. And when your mind is hijacked by your thoughts now dictate what moves you're going to take. Hence why you have these thoughts of, how should I put my hands? Or is my hair looking like a mushroom? I remember having this is a side thing, but I remember having like a comment of someone saying my head looks like a mushroom if my head hair like that. But anyways, do you know what I mean? So I'm gonna give you like a clear thing when it comes to communication, right? Most people focus on this. Let's say this is like you. This is like what people see on the external, right? And this is the internal. What most people do is they focus mostly on the external. They focus on how they look. They focus on their appearance. They focus on how they're moving their hands. They're focusing on the tone of voice. They make their voice sound a bit deeper, or they just make it squeaky. Do you know what I mean? They focus on the external things. Then in reality, all that matters is the internal, is what you create from in here rather than out there. Because what you need to realize right now is the reason why there's like very less of the external and very big of the internal right here is because the internal is much bigger than the external. Because the external is like 10% of what people kind of see of you, and the rest of it is like 90% is what you hold in yourself, what you hold within yourself, what you hold within your mind. Let's say you're talking to, if you're a guy, let's say there's a girl right there, you want to go approach her, but your mind is telling you, your internal is telling you, oh, but what if she rejects you, or what if she just laughs at you when you're there? You're just getting these random thoughts. Then you kind of realize that most of what is going on is your internal reacting to what is external. You know that if you can merely just put one thing inside your internal, you can basically change the external. So without further ado, I'm just going to give you like a diagram which I've created on my own to show you the deeper sort of layers and how you can impact the internal, so that you can get like a more fruitful external where you're not really anxious of where to put your hands and stuff like that, right? I'm gonna make it much more concise for you to understand. And if you stick by the end of this video, I guarantee you will know the depths of communication which most people sort of overlook. All they do is focus on the external. And in this video, I'm going to show you all the little tiny bits and pieces of how you can shape your internal so that it has an impact on your external, right? So there's basically 3 layers which you need to be aware of, right? And these 3 layers, if you can really understand all of them and you can basically grasp these concepts, you will just kind of just know now how to act, right? So without further ado, let me just kind of put them on the board. So the first sort of layer is your words slash, let's say, behaviors as well, because they kind of link. And this is basically your external world, right? Your words, the way you speak and the way you sort of behave and stuff. Like I said about the example of the hands, because a lot of people who were like me before, I used to be quite anxious. And sometimes what I used to do was, if I had no pockets, I used to be like, well, why do I keep my hands? Do I just, like try act cool? What do I do? And that was sort of my internal dialogue when that was going on, right? But as we get deeper, we have our vibe. Or you can call it our sort of vibrational state, right? State. Boom. Now, to give you like a basic sort of demonstration of what your vibrational state is, I'm just going to pop up Dr. David R. Hawkins' chart of consciousness. I've read Power versus Force and Letting Go by the author Dr. David R. Hawkins, and it's really great if you want to like understand people and stuff. And when you look at that chart of consciousness, right, you can see that there's like certain feelings and emotions. You can see shame, you can see joy, you can see apathy, you can see anger. When you are residing at each one, this will sort of impact on your words or your behaviors, right? And you need to realize that you are dictating your vibrational state every single time you are present. Every single time you are just kind of aware of yourself, you can change your vibrational state. And it goes in layers, right? As you can see on the chart of consciousness, it goes it basically goes like in an ascending order, or like sometimes you can just go down and stuff like that. But to give you like a basic grasp of it, it's basically your vibe. If your sort of mouth was closed and you couldn't communicate, right, and if you had no sort of like words to spit out and stuff like that, how would your vibe be? How would you be when you are like totally like rested? Would you be in this angry state? Would you be in this apathetic state? Would you be in this like joyful state? Your vibrational state basically means that you're residing at either like joy or all the layers of like emotional level that you can be on, right? And so the bottom one is very interesting, because now you're getting to the nitty gritty of what it's basically like to be a master at communication. And that is your view of self, right? Because most people view themselves as, I am not being able to communicate. I am not like the best person at communicating. I feel anxious when I'm out in social situations. And that used to be me as well. And the reason why I'm making this video is because I genuinely want to help you understand that this is not like you are not socially anxious and stuff. It's just that it's a program that you've been running on for years and years and years. And the reason why you believe it is because it's repeated again and again and again. The reason why you think you are socially anxious is because you've told yourself that thousands and thousands and thousands of times, to the point where now you're like, yeah, I'm certain I'm socially anxious. There's no way. And when I'm out and about, I'm always thinking about what I'm wearing. What if people are judging me? What if that person's laughing at me instead of laughing at their phone and shit? Do you know what I mean? I've been through that. And so if we zoom into the view of self, because I basically want you to know this small part, which is gonna sort of increase in the knowledge and is gonna help you the most in this video, by the way. So pay attention, bro. So for this part of the video, I really want you to focus your attention on what I'm saying, right? Because this one little trick, this one little shift in your mind is gonna dictate on how you sort of communicate to the people around you. And it's gonna basically, this one little shift is gonna change the way you talk to people. You're gonna be much more social. You're not gonna be in your mind so much, and you're just gonna flow freely. Like, you're not really gonna care about what this person thinks you're wearing and how you're placing your hands and what type of haircut you have, what sort of hairstyle you have and stuff like that, you know. All this stuff on the external is dictated by what you have in the internal. So now we're going to focus on the internal, right? So I know I've wrote a lot, but as you can see, I've put a view of self, and this is basically what we're going to cover right now. And so the start sentence says, I am not good enough. Now, what can I do better? As in, you know, what can I do to feel better? Because I don't feel good enough. But you're acting from a place of not being good enough. But who tells you you're not good enough? And now when I mean good enough, it could be just like generally, or in this sort of context, it is, I'm not good enough socially. I'm not good at communication, right? If you are acting from a place of good enough, you're always sort of chasing. You're always chasing, what can I get? What can I get? So let me just demonstrate it for you more easily here, right? When you are acting from a place of, oh, I'm not good enough, you're always looking elsewhere, of chasing, how can I feel good enough? You watch countless videos of social skills and stuff to feel good enough, right? You are looking elsewhere to feel like you are good enough. But what you need to realize is you are already good enough socially. You are already good enough, right? And you need to now identify what are some things which are making me feel like I am not good enough. What are some things which are making me look externally that I'm not good enough, right? You need to look at your triggers and what really sort of puts you off balance and stuff, and then you can work on those things instead of, you know, going out seeking for stuff. You can turn towards yourself, right? And I'm going to help you with it. You need to turn towards yourself and see, you know what is holding me back from seeing that I'm good enough socially. So for example, a person might, you know, go onto YouTube or go onto TikTok or go onto any social media platform, and they might search for videos on why they are not good enough and what they can do to improve themselves, right? But I want you to realize there is nothing. I need you to just kind of adopt this mindset right now. What if there's nothing to improve? What if you're already like best at best the way you are? And of course, I'm not saying you can't improve and shit, but when you stay on this sort of line with me, what if there's nothing to sort of impact on you from the external? The only change you can create to yourself is by just having this internal shift. And the way you have that is by just realizing I'm already what I can possibly like have in the future, right? You are already the person that's going to enjoy everything in the future that you're going to create for yourself. So what I mean to say by this is you are already good enough. And what is holding you back from realizing that? What is holding you back from realizing that, you know what, I'm already good enough, as in I'm already good enough socially. I can talk to people, I can go about my day, I can basically go outside, talk to a stranger. But what is holding me back from doing that? I'm not going to look at how can I be more social so I can talk to that stranger. I'm not going to look at that. I'm going to look at, I can already go talk to that stranger, right? But what is holding me back? What is my mind telling me? What is this sort of my brain telling me of why I can't do that? And then look from like a third person observer perspective at yourself of doing, like looking for stuff elsewhere. But just realize that what is going on externally or even internally in my own mind, which tells me that I'm not good enough. And so when you can have this small sort of shift in your mind, you realize that, you know what, all of this is basically like illusions because I'm imagining something which hasn't even taken place in real life. And when you constantly play the same movie of you failing and again and again and again, now sometimes this can be beneficial, but if you just keep on playing and playing this movie on repeat, it's like playing a movie or like a song on repeat, right? The lyrics are gonna stick in your head. It's the same with the scenarios that you create. If you just repeat that same scenario of you failing and being in this negative scenario, negative situation, you're basically putting that in your head in repeat. Hence, you're projecting onto the future, and hence it's more likely to happen in the future, right? So to summarize the view of self, I want you, instead of looking for things to help you, you need to think to yourself, I'm already okay. I don't need more like medicine. I don't need more pills to fix myself. I'm already good. What are the things which are causing me this ill health? And so with that being said, that concludes the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.